Papillon, Monsieur Butterfly, by Joyce Markovits. Becoming Friends. People who lived near Debbie Cantlin in View Ridge, Washington, knew that she enjoyed taking care of animals. So it was no surprise when someone called to ask if she would take care of an orphaned baby squirrel. Debbie quickly said yes, even though it was a busy time for her. Debbie's little dog, Mademoiselle Giselle, was getting ready to have a litter of papillon puppies. Debbie planned on releasing the squirrel back into the wild after he was fully grown. The tiny squirrel's name was Finnegan. He was about 1 week old when he came to live with Debbie and her little fluffy dog. Debbie wasn't sure, however, how Giselle would react to the baby squirrel, so she placed Finnegan in a small cage far from the tiny dog. Giselle then did something totally unexpected. She tugged the cage until it was next to her dog bed. Would the two animals become friends? Papillons are known for being outgoing and friendly toward other animals, even cats. Finnegan and Mademoiselle Giselle. A squirrel pup. Worried that the animals might not get along, Debbie pushed Finnegan's cage back to its original spot. Once again, Giselle dragged the cage to her bedside. Debbie knew then that Giselle wanted to care for the baby squirrel, so Debbie let Finnegan out of his cage. Without a mother, Finnegan could not care for himself. Debbie fed the little squirrel using a small bottle. A few days later, Giselle gave birth to her babies. She was a great mother to her pups, and to one bushy-tailed squirrel. Giselle treated Finnegan as one of her own. She encouraged him to nurse. She even let the baby squirrel sleep with her puppies. Finnegan had found a new home, a new mom, and 5 new brothers and sisters. Puppies nurse or drink their mother's milk for up to 8 weeks. Finnegan enjoyed snuggling with Giselle's puppies. Portrait of a Pooch. Giselle's friendly and loving personality is one reason papillons have been bred for hundreds of years. In the 1500s, papillons were known as dwarf or toy spaniels. They were the prized pets of noble families in France, Spain, and Italy. Dwarf spaniels were first bred in France, Spain, and Italy. In the 1500s, an Italian artist named Titian created many paintings of dwarf spaniels, including this one. He painted the dogs so frequently that they became known as Titian spaniels. At that time, dwarf spaniels were larger than they are today, but they were still small enough to sit comfortably on an owner's lap. They also had large, furry ears that dropped down. Well-known artists of the time would often paint portraits of noble families with their beloved pets. The word spaniel means dog of Spain in Spanish, but spaniels were bred throughout Europe. Spaniels are small to medium-sized dogs used for hunting and as companions. A painting of a child named Clarissa and her pet spaniel by the artist Titian. Butterfly dogs. Over time, dwarf spaniels became popular with noble families across Europe. During the 1700s and 1800s, however, the French wanted to change the way the little dogs looked. They bred the little spaniels so that they would have more delicate bones and large furry ears that pointed up instead of down. Marie Antoinette, who was Queen of France from 1774 to 1793, is believed to have owned and often carried Papillons around with her. The elegant Papillon was the favorite pet of many French rulers, including Louis XIV, 14, shown here seated in a chair. Today, some Papillons still have ears that lay flat against their heads, like the earlier dwarf spaniels. The dogs are called Félins, which is the French word for moths. The French didn't just change the way the little dogs looked. They also gave them a new name, papillon. This French word means butterfly. The dogs were given this name because their huge, long-haired ears are shaped like butterfly wings. In addition, the markings on their faces often look like the body of a butterfly. The papillon's ears are light and delicate, much like a butterfly's wings. Small and smart. Today, papillons are popular all over the world, especially in the United States. People enjoy them because they are small, friendly, and very smart. What they lack in size, they make up for in brains. This papillon has learned to balance itself on a ball. A papillon learning to surf in California. Dr. Stanley Coren, a psychologist and dog trainer, studied more than 100 dog breeds. He rated the dogs on how well they were able to carry out commands and solve problems. Then he placed them in order according to their intelligence. The Papillon was ranked as the 8th smartest breed. Papillons are believed to be the smartest of all the small dog breeds. Dr. Stanley Coren says that some dogs are nearly as smart as a 2-year-old child. Very obedient. Because of their intelligence, Papillons are fast learners. It doesn't take long for owners to teach their clever dogs how to follow commands such as sit, stay, and lie down. As a result, the little dogs are very good at obedience trials or tests. During an obedience trial, a handler gives his or her dog a command. The dog receives points for how well it obeys its handler. Papillons often get top scores at these trials. Papillons are one of the top 5 breeds in obedience training. This Papillon has learned to stand on 2 legs for its owner. Some Papillons are also taught to compete in agility contests. At these events, owners use their voices or hand signals to direct their dogs through an obstacle course. The Papillons must dart through tunnels, leap over objects, and weave in and out of poles. Although Papillons are very athletic, they are also happy to stay home and curl up on a warm lap. During an agility contest, a Papillon is timed as it runs and jumps through a special course. A great roommate. Papillons love to be around people. However, that also means they get sad when they are left alone. Luckily, the furry dog's small size makes it easy for an owner to carry the pet around town. Papillons easily fit into a bag or a large purse. So even when owners are away from home, they can be with their little friends. Papillons are happy to travel with their owners wherever they go. Papillons are also easy to live with because of their small size. They don't need a lot of space to run around in or much exercise. Living in a small apartment or a big house makes no difference to these furry bundles. Like most dogs, however, they should be walked at least twice a day. Although Papillons don't need a lot of exercise, they enjoy spending time taking a walk with their owners. Coats and care. Along with regular exercise, Papillons need to be brushed about twice a week. However, unlike other dogs with a lot of hair, Papillons have coats that are easy to care for. That's because their fur is silky and does not tangle easily. The long, soft hair on a Papillon's tail is known as a plume because it looks like a large cluster of bird feathers. It's a good idea to start brushing a Papillon while it is still a puppy, so that it gets used to being groomed by the time it is an adult. A Papillon with an elegant tail plume. Papillons' coats come in many colors. Most are white with patches of other colors, including black, brown, red, or tan. It is also common for Papillons to have a strip of white fur down the middle of their faces. A black and a reddish-brown Papillon. Papillons often clean themselves the same way as a cat, by licking their paws and then washing their faces. Staying healthy. Besides helping Papillons look their best, owners also need to make sure their dogs feel their best. A Papillon that is properly cared for can live a long, happy life. Part of caring for a Papillon means taking it to a veterinarian to get regular medical checkups. Papillons generally live between 13 and 16 years, although some can live even longer. Just like people, Papillons need medical checkups to make sure they are healthy. A veterinarian is checking Spencer's teeth to make sure they are clean and strong. A veterinarian is listening to Isabella's heart. Papillon owners also need to make sure the little dogs don't hurt themselves. Papillons, especially puppies, love to jump off tall furniture. One Papillon owner saw her dog jump from her bed to the top of a dresser. This can be dangerous for very small Papillons or puppies because they have delicate bones that break easily. One way owners can help prevent broken bones is by making sure the dogs don't play on furniture. A puppy that jumps down or falls from a tall chair or bed can hurt itself. So it's important for Papillon owners to keep an eye on their pets. Puppies. A newborn Papillon puppy is so small it can easily fit into the palm of a person's hand. A Papillon litter can be as small as one puppy. However, most Papillon mothers have between 2 and 4 babies at a time. Like all kinds of puppies, they cannot care for themselves. They need to be fed and cleaned by their mother. A mother dog nurses her babies with milk from her body. She licks them with her tongue to keep them clean. A Papillon puppy weighs only 4 to 6 ounces, 113 to 170 grams when it is born. The tiny dog is very delicate and can easily be injured if it is not handled with a lot of care. A mother feeding her puppy's milk. Larger kinds of puppies, such as German Shepherds or Collies, are usually ready to leave their mother at the age of 8 weeks. Papillon puppies, however, need a few more weeks to build up their strength. When they are about 12 weeks old, they are strong enough to leave their mother and become part of a human family. When fully grown, Papillons are still small. Most are under 1 foot, 30 centimeters tall, at the shoulder, and weigh about 4 to 9 pounds, 2 to 4 kilograms, less than most pet cats. Children must be taught to be gentle when playing with Papillon puppies. If they aren't, they may break the puppy's delicate bones. Helping out. Most puppies grow up as pets in homes with human families. Some, however, receive special training to help people with disabilities. These dogs become service dogs. They help people such as Debbie Davis, a dog trainer who lost her legs and now uses a wheelchair to get around. Papillons make excellent service dogs, Debbie says. The little dogs love to spend all day helping their owners. They are also quick to learn new tasks. Service dogs are taught to help people who cannot see or hear, or who have mental or physical disabilities. A special trainer teaches a service dog how to do everything from guiding a person across the street to turning a light switch on or off. Debbie and her service dog, Peek. Debbie's service dog, a Papillon named Peek, helps out with many daily chores. For example, making the bed is a snap for Debbie with Peek by her side. He uses his mouth to pull up the bed sheets and drag the pillows into place. Peek also helps out with the laundry. He grabs clean clothes from the dryer. After Debbie folds them, he puts them away in drawers. Peek climbs into the dryer and pulls out the clean clothes for Debbie. A forever friend. Just like Peek, Piper is also a service dog. The 8-pound, 4-kilogram Papillon works for Karen Shirk. Karen has a disease that makes it hard for her to breathe. Luckily, Piper senses when Karen is going to have an attack that could cause her to stop breathing. The little dog barks and jumps up and down, letting Karen know that she should take medicine to stop the attack. Karen and Piper. Karen started an organization called 4 Paws for Ability to help people with disabilities, especially children, find service dogs. Sometimes the dogs she finds and trains are Papillons, which shouldn't come as a big surprise. After all, Papillons aren't just great pets and companions. These tiny dogs, with the huge butterfly ears, can be lifesavers as well. In 2009, Piper gave birth to 2 puppies. One of the puppies received training to become a service dog, just like her mother. Piper. Papillons at a glance. Weight: 4 to 9 pounds, 2 to 4 kilograms. Height at shoulder: 8 to 11 inches, 20 to 28 centimeters. Coat hair: long, silky, and flowing, with fringed hair on the ears. Colors: 1 main color, such as white, with patches of other colors, such as black, brown, red, or tan. Countries of origin: France, Spain, and Italy. Lifespan: about 13 to 16 years. Personality: alert, friendly, and intelligent. Best in show. What makes a great Papillon? Every owner knows that his or her dog is special. Judges in dog shows, however, look very carefully at a Papillon's appearance and behavior. Here are some of the things they look for. Large ears with round tips are set near the back of the head. They may stand up or drop down. Skull is small and has a round shape. Tail is covered with a plume of long hair and arches over the body. Eyes are dark and round. Lips are tight, thin, and black. Coat is white with patches of color. Fur is long, flowing, and silky. Behavior should be happy, alert, friendly, and not shy.